Namaskar. Today I'll talk about seed sowing, watering, and plant care in the series of webinar sessions on organic and biodynamic home gardening. So first, what is the structure of the seed? Any seed, whether it is very small, minute, or big seed, bold seed. For example, small seed, the smallest type of seed, we can take the example of petunia flower, very small. You cannot even see the seed without hand lens. Or bold seed like pumpkin or zucchini. All the seeds have the basic structure same. And what is that basic structure? All the seeds will have a seed coat, which is the hard covering of the seed. And within that covering, there will be a small embryo, the miniature plant can say, which actually germinates and grows into a full plant, whether it is a big tree or whether it is a small any small plant. But that embryo, miniature embryo, will be there, and depending on the size of the seed, the embryo size also will be there. And then this portion is there, which is the food, the stored food, because initially when seed is germinating, the root is growing, it comes out first, and then the shoot part, which is the, can see here the leaves, small miniature leaves, that comes out and goes upward, which is the root is geotropic and the shoot part is the phototropic. So that's how it grows. And till the time the root is able to absorb the nutrients from the medium, the growing medium, and the leaves are able to synthesize the food in presence of sunlight, photosynthesis. Till that time, it requires the food for its own growth. So this is the quantity of food which is stored in the seed. And this is how the nature has made the arrangement for initial growth of the embryo. Now, here you can see a lot of beautiful shining color seeds are there in different shapes and size and colors. In petri dish, multiple seeds are there. But these all are chemically treated seeds because as per the Seed Act internationally as well as in India, it is mandatory to treat the seed with fungicides and pesticides before it is given to in the market. But these colorful seeds are coated with polymer, color polymer, and along with that polymer, the pesticide and fungicides are insecticides and fungicides are mixed, and this coating is done to protect the seed initially when it is in storage or till the time it is being sown in the soil, and also after sowing in the soil, initial any kind of infection if it is there. So that coating of the treatment, chemically treated chemicals, I mean different insecticides, fungicides, it protects it. But in case of organic seeds, there is no such treatment possible, and that's why have to treat it separately. Whatever seeds are available for organic purpose, organic seeds, they are untreated. And here I have taken the example of two things: white butter and honey for small seed, and for bold seeds, cow dung and cow urine. These two methods are actually very uncommon in organic practices even today. I have taken this from Vedic period informations during those days, thousands of years before. Farmers used to treat the seeds with the white butter, fresh white butter and honey. and the bold seed, the large size seeds, with the cow dung and cow urine slurry. You treat the seed and then you keep it in sunlight for a few 2-3 hours, 4 hours. Let it dry, and then either you store it for sowing in next few days, or sow it directly as per your plan. So depth of seed is very important, and depth of seed, if it is sown too much deep, that is, if seed is placed deeper than required, then the time to germinate will take more, and that's why the depth of seed is determined by the size of the seed, the thickness, or the overall size. And here you can see it is all in centimeters. So small size seed like lettuce or broccoli, etc., are small minute seeds. Can you see half centimeter depth is only required? That means you place the seed and then cover with the growing medium, whether you are sowing it in open field or in some container. First, water it, and then put the seed, and then cover it with the further growing medium. Not much of the thickness is required, only half centimeter to half centimeter. Because the smaller the seed size, the lesser the stored food in that. And if it goes too much deep, then root growth will happen, but the shoot growth will take more time, and probably the food stored inside is not sufficient enough to grow the shoot till it comes out. And you find that it has not germinated. Actually, it has germinated, but the stored food is finished. So larger the seed size, you can put it deeper. You should put it deeper actually, and up to 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch for the largest size seeds like broad bean or bean, corn, etc. You can see here, bigger the seed, deeper is the placement required. Along with the depth, the different factors are connected, like germination time, germination percentage, root depth, seedling growth, the plant health, productivity, and quality. Because if it takes more time and it is not able to grow properly, then plant will be weak and the health will be poor, and also productivity will be affected. Similarly, in the beginning, if it is deeper, germination percentage may be less also, as I have told. And if you place the bold seed too near to the surface, then also root depth will not be proper. So it is all collectively together to understand that size of the seed determines the depth of the seed placement. Here I have taken example of few vegetables, in fact, and the temperature in earlier sessions I have talked about the importance of soil temperature. Here you can see that minimum temperature, optimum, and maximum temperature for different seeds it is different, but optimum temperature is more or less between 20 to 30 degree, or in certain cases it is more than that. For example, okra or lady's finger. And here the name, the days required for germination. So depending on the type of the seed, it varies from 3-4 days to 6-7 days or 8 days. Certain vegetables like or flowers which take more time, almost 10-12 days, or almost 2 weeks also. So harder the seed coat, it will take more time. That is the simple calculation. If a seed coat is very hard, like a coriander, it is very hard. So it absorbs the moisture, then it softens, and then the germination happens. Here, the placement of the seed, you can see here it is a pumpkin seed, similar to zucchini seed, same shape and size. So this is the way the root part comes out, and shoot part also comes out and moves upwards, grows upwards. So this should be placed horizontally, not vertically. If this is on the downward side, then the root will grow downwards, but the shoot will have to take turn and come up. So it will take more time and germination will be delayed. Ultimately, plant will be also weak and everything will be delayed. So we have to place the seed properly horizontally so that the opening, the hole through which it comes out, should be parallel to the soil, and root will go down and shoot will go up. Here you can use for preparing the seedlings, you can use this egg carrying this containers, or rather even better if you can use the eggshells like this and fill up the material in that and then sow the seed. Particularly for tomato, which is quite sensitive to calcium deficiency, I would suggest at least for tomato you can do like this: grow the seedling, and then this whole thing you can place in the soil. You bury it up to this much, and initial calcium supply will be from this, and there will not be any deficiency of calcium in tomato. This is how the seed germinates in the soil. When you place the seed, you see this is the kidney bean, and or rajma can say. Here it is coming out, and the shoot will go up. So in certain seeds, what happens? The root goes down, and then shoot, instead of coming out in the soil itself, it forces the seed coat outside the soil, and then it comes out like here, because so that the delicate portion is protected from the any kind of damage in the soil particles, etc. Different seeds have different behavior actually. Different crops have different behavior, but this is how it is here. So you can see that the seed is placed and then root is coming out, and it is going and growing further, and then shoot is coming out, and after it comes out, then the seed coat is opened up, and then it starts growing. You can see this here in the video, actually, how it happens in soil. First, this video will be for what happens inside the soil. It's not playing somehow. Anyway, this is not playing. Okay. You can see here the germination is happening in this in the what is happening above soil, that you can see here. Here you can see that it is coming out, and slowly the seed coat, you can see this black color. It is now it will just open up and then fall down, and further leaves will grow, continue to grow. At this stage, actually, it is utilizing the stored food, and this is the first leaf actually, and then the next new leaf is coming out now. This is the new leaf, and from this photosynthesis starts happening actually, and then it starts growing. So now second leaf is coming up. Now this is the second leaf growing. And see here now the third leaf is coming. So whenever you are growing seedling for the transplanting, here you can see that this is the third leaf. When it is the fifth and sixth leaves are coming up, that time is the right time for seedling to be transplanted, because that is the right size. And you can see slowly the stem is also thickening up and also growing upward. Now this is the fourth leaf. This is the seedling of broccoli actually, and see first leaf is now drying up. It is the purpose is over, and then this is the fifth leaf, and so second leaf is also now this thing slowly turning yellow and drying. At this yellow stage, you must clip it from here instead of waiting for it to fall. You can just clip it here, and the purpose of this leaf is also almost over. It is now turning yellow, and then it will fall down. You can see it is now turning brown, and then it will fall down. And now this is the around this time. This is the stage when you have almost 5 and 6 leaves. This is the stage when you can plan for transplanting, and this takes approximately 20 to 23 days for broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, etc. Or for tomato, it takes almost 25 days. Or chili, brinjal, capsicum, it takes 30, 32, 33 days. So this is the right stage for transplanting of the any seedling. Actually, this many number of leaves, and the stem you can see it's thickened up. I'll just try to see if this can be played. Yeah, you can see what happens inside the soil. Here in this, the seed is kept in the moisture, and you see the moisture is absorbed, and then seed pod ruptures because it softens and then it ruptures. The shoot part is now growing, and then further it is now growing and will be branching, and then this is how the things happen in the inside the soil, which is invisible. See, now the shoot part is also getting ready, and it will move towards upside. Here you can see the branching of the roots are happening. So roots are geotropic, that is, it moves always towards the soil and towards the ground. And the shoot part is phototropic, that is, it always goes upwards in search of light. Root will, the moment light will be there, root will turn reverse. So this is how it happens. And then here you can see for the seed sowing and seedling transplanting, I've given the list. These are the seeds which are sown directly actually. No transplanting is required as such, unless until you want to save some time and you have your space, the main place is not ready, so you can grow it separately and then transplant it. Otherwise, all these things like lettuce, carrot, radish, turnip, rutabaga, parsnip, Swiss chard, beets and beans, peas, all cucumber, pumpkin, etc., melons, kale, these are directly sown. But these are the crops which require transplanting. That means you have to prepare the seedling up to 5, 6 leaves, and then need to transplant it, and that it takes almost 3 to 4 weeks time, or sometimes it is more than 4 weeks also, goes into the 5th week. Instead of example is eggplant and pepper, etc. So tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, etc. And then certain crops are there in which you don't use seed, but you use the vegetative propagation through the tuber, bulb, or root, like potato, asparagus, etc. You can grow asparagus at home, but not potato or onion or garlic. So asparagus you can grow in the home garden. Uh, while transplanting the seedlings, uh, different kind of containers you can take, but here I would explain about these two pictures. You can see that in this container, because container is small and the root is growing, but it is not finding much space, so it is coiling up within that only. And as the root is growing and coiling up, the soil space is becoming less, and it is not able to absorb sufficient nutrient from that, because the soil quantity is less as compared to the root volume. You can say soil volume versus root volume is ratio is very less. So what you can do, you can make holes all around from sides, some 2 mm, 3 mm thickness hole, multiple holes you can make. So that will have the aeration also in the soil, proper aeration, and root will grow uniformly. It will not overgrow actually, because in search of, because it is not finding any light. So as I said, roots are geotropic, so it keeps on growing inside. But when there is a source of light, root will not, the moment it finds light, it will just reverse it. So uniform root growth will happen, and you can see the shoot growth here, a lot of root growth, but less shoot growth. And here root growth is uniform and shoot growth is also better and healthier also. Same thing is here in this container also. You can see it's a big container, deep container, and the plant was placed here, and a lot of root growth is happening, and it is growing lanky. And because it is growing lanky, the plant is weak. And here the at the top portion the planting was done, so root is growing deeper in the soil, and the plant is also healthy. So what I mean to say, in earlier session I have explained that proper space is required above ground and below ground, and here you can see in the figures that what exactly happens when it doesn't get the proper space. And you think that the plant is not growing healthy. What is the reason? Reason is actually in the root system. So atmospheric humidity and temperature have a lot of influence on the plant, the health of the plant, etc. Here you can see sunlight is there and humidity is also good. The temperature is not very high, and all the plants, whether small plants or big trees, everything is growing properly. You can see all colorful. But as the temperature increases and the humidity also reduces, actually, this is the indication of humidity, and here the humidity increases. Uh, Tall trees have the deep root system, so they are able to still get the supply of water and the nutrient. But small plants and trees, their root system is not that deep, so you can see that wilting effect or drying effect happening. And here, if you see, the temperature is further increased, and also the atmosphere humidity is further less, and you can see it is affecting all the plants. So we have to maintain the proper soil moisture in the system. Around the root zone, sufficient moisture should be there. It should not be overwatered, or it should not be less watered. And for that, we need to check the soil moisture at frequent intervals, because regular intervals rather. And yes, earlier session I have explained about the pH and soil moisture meter. Here you can see in the moisture meter, this is measured. This can be measured in dry and wet, and this is the moisture meter. So this red portion is actually dry. Soil is having insufficient moisture. It is in stress condition. This green is sufficient moisture, and blue is excess moisture, too wet actually. So if you see that moisture is in the root zone, that is 6 to 8 inches deep at the depth. If you see that needle is somewhere here, you can wait for some time. But if it is needle is somewhere here, you need to water immediately. And if it is below 3, in around 2 or 1, then your plant will tell that it is probably in the wilting condition. And if it is excess moisture showing in 8 or plus, then I would suggest to loosen the soil a little bit for the moisture to evaporate. Because if excess moisture is there, then also it affects the root. The rotting happens in the root. Different kind of disease happens because aeration doesn't happen in the soil, and because of the lack of aeration, the disease thrives. Fungal disease attacks the roots. So what should be the watering system? What should be the frequency of watering? Here, if you see that the three columns are there, twice a week watering is required. This is an average suggestion, but you must have this instrument, and you keep on checking at certain interval before watering. So here, if you see, these are the crops in which twice a week, that is 3-4 days interval, or 2 days gap. If you have watered today, then 2 days gap, again third day you check, and then if required, you can water. Similarly, for these plants like bean, corn, pepper, eggplant, etc., which are little more hardy, in fact, these are very delicate that way. So frequency of watering requires more. And here it is little hardy, that way less can withstand the stress. So once in a week is sufficient. And certain more plants are there, like tomato, watermelon, cantaloupe, etc., in which 10 days to 12 days or 14 days, I mean 2 weeks interval is also sufficient. But this is just a suggestion. You must check with the moisture meter. For ornamental plants, here specific plants have specific requirements, and that's why you can see here for spider plant 5 to 10 days, or calathea also 5 to 10 days. Then snake plant is more hardy, so 10 to 15 days. Similarly, all those different aloe vera also it is because succulent type, so 10 to 15 days. Like that, different plants are there, and this is the average frequency, the average interval of watering. But uh, depending on the region and the season, the atmospheric temperature and the atmospheric humidity will determine the soil moisture. And accordingly, after checking, you can decide in what season, what frequency watering is required. Similarly, for succulent, the interval will be more, and other plants, it will be same 5 to 10 days. You can decide about. Taking the care of the plants, there are certain things which are important. First thing is that when you are transplanting the plant, how should you transplant, and what depth you should place the seedling. So root ball should go inside the soil, and then little bit of stem also should be covered. It is not only the root part that much only should go into the soil, but little bit of 1 or 1.5 centimeter of the stem part also should be under inside the soil, and then you need to water it immediately. But always you do the seedling transplanting or repotting, etc., preferably in the afternoon, because in the afternoon the temperature of the day cools down. uh, but if you do in the morning, then as the sun rises up and up, the temperature also increases, and whenever you do the transplanting or repotting of the plant, it gets a shock, it has to go through a shock. And that's why if you do it in the afternoon when the temperature is going down, it will be soothing actually, and it will have more time to establish itself. So immediately when you water it, the root, if is exposed in the air and drying up, it gets moist, and then normally in 24 to 48 hours time, new growth starts. And as the new growth of root starts, also the above also you see new leaf also coming up, new buds also coming up. So this is how it is done. In certain plants, actually, you need to pinch the apical bud at a specific stage. Here in this picture, if you see, particularly in case of chili and capsicum, rather not chili. In case of capsicum, the first flower bud comes at the apex. Here you can see this is white spot is there. So leaves are in pair, and opposite perpendicular leaves are coming, and then first flower bud comes. If you don't pinch it, then branching will not happen, and you will not get further flowers and fruits. So you need to pinch it at this stage only. The moment you see that flower bud is forming, then you pinch it, and then once you pinch it, then you see that two buds are coming up, two leaves are coming up, and parallelly. And then this is how the sideways, you once you pinch this, then you see two branches are coming up, and it takes the proper shape. Similarly, another thing is that in case of chili and brinjal, particularly in case of chili, this first branching which is happening in chili, it happens Y shape, and from this center the first flower bud and the first fruiting happens. So below this Y shape formation, any branch which is coming, you must remove it, and allow the stem to thicken up and grow stronger and stronger. And from this branching, further Y-shaped branching will happen, and every Y in between the Y, the flowering will happen and fruiting will happen. That is how the chili flowering and fruiting happens. Similarly, when you are changing the pot, you water the pot 24 to 48 hours in advance, so that all the soils will be compact, and the soil will be wet and compact. No loose soil will be there. And then slowly you hold the plant at the bottom near the soil, like this. You can see here, like this. If you see, and then slowly you turn upright, and then take the plant with the soil root ball out of that. If it is not coming, then you can tap it little bit on certain surface, and then take it out and repot it in the new pot, a bigger pot. And before potting it, you just prepare yourself and keep the other pot, new pot ready, filling with filled up soil, etc. Keep the space of this much area, so that you can place it. And when you bury it, little bit of stem also should go inside. Whenever you are transplanting, don't just keep it up to the surface. Little bit of stem here also should go deep under the soil. Here, the caring of different vegetables, if we say, if we take the example, then these are the period of germination it takes. Of course, it is a general indication. Again, it depends on the season and region, the temperature, atmospheric temperature, the soil temperature, etc., and soil moisture, of course, the germination. But different type of seeds take different period for the germination. After the germination, this is the period for transplanting. For the transplanting for different plants, certain plants require 3 to 4 weeks, or maybe 6 to 8 weeks also. But normally, in tropical condition, in Indian condition, if I say, it is 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes it goes into the 5th week, like eggplant and pepper, etc. It goes into 5th week, again depending on the season. The container size here, I've just given the suggestion that for which kind of crop, which kind of size of container should be there. Medium means roughly the 10-inch diameter, large means 12 to 14-inch diameter, and small means 6 or 8-inch diameter. So generally, the container, if you buy from the market, the pot, it is by the diameter of the pot, and whatever is the diameter, 1.5 times of that will be the depth of the container. And certain plants can grow well or sustain also in partial shade, but these are the plants which require direct sunlight, for example, beans, cucumber, eggplant, etc. And for some delicate plants like lettuce and parsley, etc., partial shade also will do, particularly in the hot season. If it is winter season, the sunlight is angular, then direct sunlight will not do any harm. But if sunlight is more direct and perpendicular on the head, then you must keep it in the shade only, partial shade, for example. And it can be in the morning time, it can be in the sun, or maybe in the afternoon, evening time, when setting sun, it can get the direct sunlight. But when the sun is up, it should be protected from the direct sunlight. And then this is the number of days for harvest. And again, it is indicative. It depends on the region and the season. But generally, these many days it takes for the first harvest. And then this is the window of the harvest, which varies from crop to crop, region and season again. The caring of the fruit trees, wherever you have fruit trees, if you have open space, open ground also, then you can have different kind of fruit trees. Or if you are growing it in terrace also, you can have fruit trees. So fruit trees require timely pruning also. So if you don't know the basic principles of pruning, and if you do the wrong pruning, then plant the entire structure of the plant will get disturbed. It will grow hayward. It will not grow properly, and probably more vegetative growth will happen, and flowering and fruiting will not happen. And you will be trying to find what is the reason it is not flowering properly, or it is not giving sufficient fruit. But somewhere the mistake was during the pruning, actually. So you can see there are different type of prunings are there. Here, like example, the main stem, from that you allow the branching to happen, and instead of See, this is the first branching happened, then this two branches gone up, then again two branches. So like this, you allow the branching to happen. Instead of that, you just cut it, then the three branches coming up like a fork, and the structure will be disturbed then. Here you can see further growth will be like this, and then further growth will be like this. You can see these three main stems, and then too many branching and too much bushy. But here, if you properly prune it and allow the structure to take shape, then you see that strong branches are coming up at every level. And the tree is airy also, proper size also, bigger size than this, and bigger size means more flowering and fruiting. This is about the fruit trees which are normally big trees. So these are the three methods actually. These are the three systems of pruning. One is open vase system like this one. You can see the branches you are allowed, and then every branch you allow the second and third branch, secondary and tertiary branches, and accordingly you keep on pruning the any extra branch coming up. And otherwise it is the modified central leader, the main branch is coming up, and then the side branch are coming up. Depending on the structure of the and type of the tree, actually, there are certain tall trees in which the main stem grows taller and taller, and side branches come up. So you have to decide about understand about the type of the tree, and accordingly you have to select whether it should be your pruning should be based on the open vase system, or the modified central leader system, or the central leader system. Through the structure of the tree, you need to actually decide. There are different type of pruning tools available in the market, because the branches are they become woody and thick also. So if it is not very thick, then you can cut with this kind of cutters, or if it is too much thick and strong also, then you need the pruning saw, which are available in the market for that. And whenever you are actually pruning, you don't prune it like this parallel. The horizontal you don't prune. Always it should be angular. The pruning should be angular, not horizontal. Reason is that infection can happen from the, if this is the cut portion, infection can happen and it will go inside. But if it is horizontal, angular, generally around 45 degrees centigrade, 45-degree angle, then you actually reduce the chances of fungal infection. Similarly, while you are transplanting a tree sapling, or a big tree also sometimes is transplanted. If it is a slopy place, you don't plant the tree according to the slope, but rather you make the pit like this, and it should be flat. Although slope line is this, but your tree should be flat and erect. If you plant it along with the slope, although you will be planting erect only, but slowly it will bend towards this side. So if you make the place flat like this in the pit, and then fill up this portion, then it will go stronger, and root system also will spread properly, and it will hold in the soil. This is how the pit has to be dug up, and then place the trees, so that root system can grow properly parallelly, and hold the tree stronger in the soil. But if it is small seedlings of the seasonal crops, then also after transplanting, you will have to, after some time, you have to do the earthing up of the soil. If you don't do that, and a cavity type of depression is here, and whenever you water, the water will go from here, it will collect here and it will percolate down here. Whereas the root absorbing water and nutrient are these root tips, not the main root. So if you do the earthing up, then the water will percolate from this side, and it will go directly where the new roots are there, the white root, the fresh roots are there. So there are certain plants which require support, like for example, tomato. If you're growing in a single pot, then this kind of triangular structure or quadrangular structure you can erect around the plant so that it grows erect and straight upward, and without any hindrance, flowering, fruiting can happen. You get continuous fruiting for your kitchen. This is how you can do that when it is small, and create the structure individually in a plot, in a pot. But if it is a bigger container, for example, more than one plants are there, then you can have this kind of structure, and within that structure, you keep the support and allow it to grow erect. Uh, Certain plants like cucumber and bitter gourd, etc., particularly the gourds, they require stronger structure because they are creeper and very delicate. So this kind of strong structure you can have, and allow it to grow upward. They have the tendrils. With that, they will just hold on and grow upward, and you will get the proper flowering, fruiting, and healthy plant. So this is how the this session is about the seed sowing and plant care, watering, etc. Namaskar.